Let's talk about authenticity. You've heard this term thrown around a million times. Everyone says you've got to be authentic. You have to be your authentic self, your true self in how you present yourself. But what does this actually mean? For a lot of people, it can sound really trite if you don't know what it means for real. So today, I brought on a really special guest, my friend Diana Davis, who's an incredible coach for creative entrepreneurs. And she is all about authenticity. She is like the perfect embodiment of what it means to show up as your authentic self in your business and online and in how you interact with your clients and how you interact with everyone. Because really, what it means to be authentic is to be yourself in every aspect of your life. So it's really about kind of finding this resonance in your life and making that come through across the board. So I'm really excited to share this conversation with you. It's a little bit longer than my typical conversations, but it is so worth the extra few minutes because it's such a rich conversation with so many powerful lessons. So enjoy. Let's dive in. Hey, beautiful human. You're listening to Bold Women in Business, the show where strategy meets soul in marketing, branding, and business growth. I'm your host, Rachel Honeyman, messaging and branding strategist, content queen, and compulsive meeting maker. Every week, I'll help you ditch the cookie cutter playbook and build a brand that actually sounds like you, sells like hell, and feels so damn good to show up for. Let's get bold. Thank you so much for joining me today, Diana. Can you just introduce yourself to the audience?
Yes, hello. I'm so excited to be here. I'm Diana Davis, and I am currently a business coach for creative entrepreneurs. I run a community called Recess for Creatives. I would say at my core at the moment, which can change and has changed, I'm a community builder, and I really love that. I don't think that will ever change, even if I'm not monetizing that at some point anymore. Definitely a community builder. Gemini, we're all over the place. We love gathering our people. But yeah, I'm a creative at heart as well. I used to be a photographer and a graphic designer, and that's also where like my soul lives.
Love it. And yeah, the community building aspect comes through in everything that you put out there. I just think it's like such a core part of who you are. And we've interacted quite a bit at this point online, but this is
Yeah.
actually our first time talking face to face, which is
Yeah.
exciting. But yeah, that's like so clear to me, the drive to build community and build connection. And I think that's just so important, especially in our world today, where I think people are just feeling really disconnected and in
Yeah.
need of community. And one of the things that really comes through to me in everything that you put out there is this deep sense of authenticity. And that is a word that gets thrown around a lot these days, that, it's kind of like a buzzword that in some ways has lost meaning, that its true meaning. And I'd love to hear your take on like, what is authenticity really? Like people who are kind of just not really sure what that really means, how to do it, what does it mean for their business? Like, what's your take on that?
I think authenticity is honesty, right? At the end of the day, if we strip everything away, who are you at your core? Because I'm also trying to be like in my head working this out. Like, all right, authenticity is having a voice. Yeah, sure. But sometimes it's authentic to not speak out, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's authentic to be just an introverted person behind the scenes who works on other businesses. It doesn't mean you have to be a thought leader. It doesn't mean you have to put yourself out there in a certain way. I think authenticity is truly what is true to you without letting outside influence happen. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, even if we're going into marketing and how we show up on social, it's like, are you just copying and pasting someone else's blueprint to your business and to your marketing? And even if you are, if that's authentic and you feel at your core that is aligned, then great. That's authenticity. But if it's not, it's like only you can really know. And I do think people can smell it though.
Yeah. I totally agree. And this connects so deeply to like my approach to branding. It very much comes from that perspective also, is like you have to know who you are and what is at your core before you can build a brand and build marketing
Yeah.
and build a business that's going to actually like attract your people, right? How do you know who your people are if you don't know who you are? And so it really starts there, I think, is getting in touch with who am I? And speaking of like disconnectedness, so many people are disconnected not just from other people, but from themselves. And they don't necessarily know what is real to me. And so that's where it becomes so attractive to follow what someone else is telling you works for them. And you're like, okay,
Mhm.
well, they said that that made them $1 million. So I'm just going to do exactly that. And if it doesn't really ring true, it's not going to work.
Yeah. And I think there's also a piece of us, I'm thinking about my 22-year-old self, my 25-year-old self, my 30-year-old self that became a coach and started this group program that I just shut down yesterday, which was a really big deal. And I'm sure we'll talk about.
Yeah, we're going to
Um,
talk about that.
but there's a piece that needed to follow someone else's blueprint. Even like 23 politically, I was just like a parrot of what was around me until someone was like, "Is that real for you? Is
Mhm.
that really what you believe?" And even doing, building this course, I didn't know if it was true or not, but I needed to like have something to check it against. So also not kind of shaming ourselves for trying the thing and going, is that authentic or not? And there's no shame in the game. Like try it out and see if it is. Only you can know again, I think.
Yeah, and I do think that there's that pressure testing that's needed, right? We're probably around the same age. I don't know how old you are, but I'm 37,
I'm
almost 38.
35.
So,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. I think when you're like in your mid to late 30s, it's a little bit different than, yeah, when you're earlier on. But it's not necessarily age based, right? It's also kind of like where you're at in your life. Like if you're kind of starting over, let's say, and you're starting a business for the first time or starting a
Mhm.
new venture or, leaving a marriage or whatever it is. Like, I think we're always figuring out who we are at that time and figuring out what is authentic to us. And there is going to be trial and error in that. And so, yeah, I think that there is a lot of benefit in learning from others, but with the understanding that like we're trying to get to the heart of what feels right to me and like my soul and my inner being.
Right. And what might not be authentic for you anymore.
And so, on that, I would love to hear you talk about this program that you're shutting down. Diana posted the most beautifully authentic, vulnerable video the other day. Was it yesterday? I mean, by the
Yesterday.
time this
Yeah.
comes out, it'll be a while ago, but when we're recording it, it was just yesterday, and really sharing this very vulnerable moment where she decided to shut down this program. So that's like a really good example of showing up as your authentic self. How did that come to be?
Oh, girl. I was saying it all happened so freaking fast. Like it was just like boom, 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 boom. Once the Jenga little block was pulled, it was all falling. But also at the same time, it's been coming for a long time. And I think that's what we learn as personal development junkies. Like if you're an entrepreneur, you're a personal development junkie. You just
Mm-hmm.
are.
Whether you want to be or not.
Whether you want to be or not. Welcome to the journey. But yeah, I think part of this journey is failing faster, listening sooner, bouncing back faster, regulating faster. It's like, oh my gosh, I was able to regulate faster this time. I was able to get back to my baseline faster this time, or I was able to listen to that little seed of intuition faster instead of ignoring her for a year. This one I've been ignoring for a while. And if you're ever listening to my podcast, Pollen, there's probably way too many episodes on burnout in the last year about me and my burnout, other people and their burnout. Because I was really burnt out. I was nomadic for 2.5 years. I had a day in July of last year where I called my friend and I was like, I think I want to burn it all down. Like, I think I want to quit my job. And when you say something like that, you probably shouldn't ignore it. Like, that's not just coming out of nowhere. And I did take a break and I realized I do love what I do. And I do. I love this program. It's called Camp Clarity. It's a program that I created in 2020 when I first started coaching. It's business school for creative entrepreneurs. I was a photographer. I built my business. I did it a lot of amazing ways and a lot of ways I wished I would have done differently. And I made a course to help creatives navigate that and build the business and life of their dreams because burnout is very real.
Yeah.
And I've ran it for 5 years. This will be the 13th round. We are running it one more time. And it felt like a lifeline. It really changed my life. It made me see what was possible. It made me see what I could do. It was something that was really hard to let go of. It's like the more stock you have in it, the harder it is. And a lot of
Yeah.
people might be like, it's just a program. Like people start and stop and create new programs all the time. But this was like my curriculum, like really the core of my coaching business. And so last year when I burnt out, I was like, I still love running this and I still do. And I'm so excited for this next round and every single call that's going to be there. But like the launch cycles, they weren't authentic to me. And also like, it's time to graduate from that. It's just time. It's time to see what's next. I don't know what's next. And my challenge right now is to leave the page blank and sit with it and like follow the breadcrumbs and not try to future trip and write something down just because I'm uncomfortable with a blank page. So will I continue coaching? I don't know. Will I continue my Recess for Creatives community? I think so. But I'm also just really challenging myself not to have to figure it out. But yeah, yesterday it just all crumbled and it was like, I think I'm quitting. I think this is it. I think we're going to cut the price in half and just throw a big party for this last round. Oh my God, now I'm crying. I should capture this on my phone and I guess I'm posting it and it's out and it's done. It just is like time isn't real. It just all just happened.
Yeah, I think that that's so important for people to understand is that a lot of times we look at entrepreneurs who are, maybe more public or whatever, right? They look successful and they look like they're doing something that is working. And it doesn't mean that they have to keep doing that forever, right? And so when, as entrepreneurs, like if you find something that's working for you, like understand that that might change. And when you get to the point where, especially for us creative entrepreneurs who are really doing this for a deeper purpose, right? Like none of us are just trying to make a buck, right? Like we need to do well, but we're not doing this for that reason because there are way easier ways to make a good living, right?
It's like go crunch some numbers, you'd be making more bucks in a cubicle, to be fair.
Exactly. If I could do math, then that would work. But but yeah, like running a business is so hard and running a creative business is even harder. And so to do that, you have to have this like really deep fire within you that's driving you to do this. And so when that fire goes away, which it can, like that happens, it's normal. Even if it was amazing for the longest time and was really fueling you and really fueling that deep passion for a while, it can go away. And it is important to recognize that that's part of the journey. It's part of the journey. None of us wants to be exactly the same 10 years from now as we are now. So our businesses also shouldn't look the same as they do today.
Yeah. And I think a big thing on that is like, even in my workouts, I've been like really dedicating myself to my practices again for the first time in 2.5 years of nomading. I've taken a lot of spin classes in Spanish and French and all these things, but there's not always like a routine, getting back to my routine now that I live in LA and have a home and that kind of thing. But even in my workout classes, you have to remember there's that point, there's that threshold that you push past, even though it's hard. So like, I want to be very clear, just because you feel the fire waning doesn't mean you should quit.
Yeah.
You have to really tap in and go, could I push just a little harder? Like, could I do the hard work? Because let's be real, like we're a fucking lazy generation. Let's just be really real. And it's so easy for us to listen to the like, just listen to your body. Like if it doesn't, which we should, but also there's a point where we kind of lose out on things because we're just like, oh, it was hard. Guess the resistance means I'm not supposed to do it. It's like, no, it's honing you for that, at least the next thing, if not to continue this thing. So I think that's where that fine line is. It's like, is this anxiety and fear, or is it intuition? And that can be really hard. And sometimes we just have to sit with it.
Yeah. I mean, I've talked about this on the podcast before a few times already, but I basically, towards the end of last year, I was in that phase of total burnout, and like the math wasn't mathing. My business was just
Mhm.
not doing as well as I needed it to. And I was burning myself out and just not feeling good about it. And so I kind of made this decision heading into 2025. I was like, this is my make it or break it year. I'm basically doing everything that I possibly can to make this succeed, or I'm going to shut it down. And that was my final push to be like, I just need to give this like one last shot. And I have to say that for me, that was what I needed. Like, I just
Mhm.
needed that push, and it totally transformed my business and it totally changed my relationship with my business. So, yeah, I totally relate to that. I think that there is that need to really kind of give it that one last push, like really push yourself beyond that comfort zone, but then pay attention. If it's not working, like it's not working, and you don't need to burn it all down, right? But maybe it just is a sign that there's a need for a pivot.
Totally, totally. And that was one of the big things with this is I had so much anxiety the last 5 days, and I was kind of gaslighting myself. It's like, girl, you were fine a week ago. What's the problem? Like, there's no way
Mm.
this is all of a sudden coming up again. And I was like, it's my PMS, it's the eclipse, it's whatever. And then it was just like, this is maybe a little bit too graphic, but it's like you're kind of nauseous and you're like, huh. And then all of a sudden it's just like all comes out and you're like, well,
Mhm.
that was that. I was feeling that way for a reason and here it all is. And now it's changed. But yeah, I think there's a point of like making sure you're taking that break, just like a rest period in a workout class or anything like that, like taking the break and then seeing if you have the stamina. But yeah, it's fascinating. It's all of it. Only you can know. Like back to
Yep.
that, only you can know.
So that actually is really an interesting question that I get asked a lot, actually, is like, how do you show up authentically without kind of veering into oversharing or trauma dumping on your audience, right? Like, because I think that we've all seen those videos where people are, crying on camera and it feels icky. And like,
Forced, yeah.
that's not at all what you put out there, right? Like, that was obviously a very real moment. But like, how do you kind of guide people through finding that right balance?
Yeah, it is such a balance because I'm thinking like, man, you can't even use this filter of like, if you would feel gross about someone else doing it, you shouldn't do it because we're so judgmental about ourselves that there's no way we could use that barometer. Because we'd be
Mhm.
like, well, I always like, I can't even hear my own voice on the answering machine, like that's how we are. And a lot of creatives specifically, like, we're so icked out by our own presence, which is something we have to work on
Yeah.
first and foremost. And so I invite those people, anyone, I'm thinking of like my clients who barely can show their faces on Instagram. And I was the same. Like I used to be a photographer that just wanted to be behind the lens. Like you
Mhm.
can't tell me I have to post photos of my face, right? And now it's like I'm the only one on my feed. But I would say for those people, just start. If you want to post your freaking matcha in the morning, post about it. Just start
Yeah.
somewhere and then see. And you get to decide. And I think stories, specifically, if we're talking about Instagram, is a great way to do it because it only lives for 24 hours and it can be messy and it doesn't really matter. And even if you need to do a close friends list so that you're only being authentic and vulnerable to them in a safe space and then dip your toe in, like you'll see yesterday, not the audience, obviously, but you. I didn't know when I was posting those stories of like, I think I might quit Camp Clarity that I was going to announce like this was not planned. This was not strategized.
It was
It was
happening in
just,
real time.
yeah. And I even said, I was like, they say you shouldn't share from the wound, share from the scar. But here I am, Scorpio rising. Like, this is just what's on my mind. And I'm basically word vomiting to you all. But I was
Yeah.
doing it on close friends. And I think close friend strategy is so fun. We could talk about that. But
Mhm.
I think it's just, you just start. And sometimes you're going to look back, or maybe you shouldn't, but you look back 5 years ago and it was kind of ick. You're like, oh, honey,
Yep.
that was not cute. But also, we've come so far and you
Yep.
just start feeling it out. I deleted a post the other day. I posted it and I deleted it because I was like, whew, that wasn't authentic. I think we were forcing that. And I deleted it. And that's okay. I don't do that very often and I don't encourage that, but just starting and seeing how it feels. I also have for my coaching clients, I tell them, pretend like you're texting your friend. Like if you would text a friend about like, oh my God, I found this sick new coffee shop that you can work at. Instead, post it to your audience. Like they want to know this stuff. So
Mhm.
that's kind of a good little exercise too to just try.
Yeah, something else that I always tell people is like, yes, in your stories, it's only there for 24 hours. But even when you post something to your feed, like people see it for a day, maybe two,
Mm-hmm.
and then like the algorithm is never going to show it to anyone ever again. And it's like it never existed. So I think that people are so scared to put themselves out there. And you basically, like, worst case scenario, you post something that is ick and people will see it and then they'll forget about it because we also have really short memories. And then, best case scenario is it lands and it's great. But I think, yeah, you also have the option to delete things if it's really not feeling aligned. But I think in a lot of ways, the transient nature of social media, like there are all sorts of negative things to that, but there is a positive thing that it just really removes the pressure. It'll either land or it won't, and people will see it or they won't, and it'll be gone in a couple of
Mm-hmm.
days. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And people connect with real humans. We want just real. We're not in
Hmm.
the Instagram phase of perfect Instagrammable, perfect grid 20 freaking 14 or whatever it was. People want real. So like don't do takes, like just post it. I post bloopers all the time. Like the ROI on that is better.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
mess up, be messy, don't be perfect. That's
Hmm.
better. So if you out there need a strategy or a reason to be messy, it's your ROI is going to be better on it.
Totally. Quick pause. Can we talk about content for a second? If you're staring at a blank screen more often than you're hitting post, it might be because you're trying to create content that doesn't fit your actual strengths. It's kind of like wearing someone else's jeans. They may look super good on your friend, but you put them on and they are not comfortable and they just aren't doing your butt any favors. That's why I created the Content Marketing Power Type quiz. It's free and it helps you figure out the kind of content you were made to create, the kind of content that feels natural, sustainable, and actually connects with your people in a way that lights you up. In just 45 seconds, or maybe even 30 if you're quick about it, you're going to find out your power type and get custom recommendations to make content feel easier and more effective. Head on over to honeybeebold.com/quiz. That's HoneyBeebold.com/quiz. Take it and then DM me your result because I kind of need to know. All right, let's dive back into the episode. Talk to us about your close friend strategy because I think it's
Ooh.
something that like I actually have not seen anyone else talk about and
Ooh.
it's so smart.
Yeah. So quick, like timeline of me from Colorado, rancher's daughter, literal dad's a cowboy, whole different life. Went to Montana for graphic design and photography school. I was married, which is crazy. Was married when I was 20, got divorced when I was 24. Like, hello, nice to meet you all too. And I moved to New York for 5 years, was in magazines, moved without a job and a plan, networked my way into magazines, eventually got laid off, started my photography business, rocked it for 3 years, also burnt out, doing 11 shoots a week, like craziness, New York City, carrying a 30-pound backpack 13 miles a day. Then became a coach because the pandemic let me have space to do that. And moved to Denver during the pandemic with an ex. 6-year ex, we break up. I go nomadic for 2.5 years. That being said, with all that timeline, I basically was a serial long-term relationshipper. And so during that nomad time, I started dating all around the world. And so I wanted to share these stories and I sometimes would just publicly, but then it was like, I don't really want guys knowing this. I don't want them seeing it, whatever. So I started this close friends just to share dating. People love it. I still do it. Sometimes I wonder if I'm single just because I like sharing the dating stories so much. And then for a minute, I was like, oh, well, I started this recess community for creatives, and it would be a really smart way to inform them of events and things like that. And I'll delete all my close friends, re add all the people from recess, And that'll be like their channel. Here's the events. Here's what I'm doing. Here's the behind the scenes. And honestly, great, but it was kind of boring. It was like, they don't care. They're getting email notifications already about the events.
Right.
And so I started sharing dating and stuff again and added people back who wanted to be back. And some people are removed. They've been revoked. Like the drama can be real. But yeah, so I just share like really real stuff on there, like legit things I would voice note a friend. And the dating stuff is just secret on there, which helps. I share a lot of screenshots of my responses to people, breaking up with people, and the messiness. Like I had 20 date guy who I kind of fell for. And then
I was so invested in that story, by the way, like so invested. It was better than any like reality show.
Oh my God. And I get DMs like that all the time. And it's not because, yes, it's entertaining. Like we love love. Like if you're in the business of love, sex, money, you're probably doing better than any of us. It just sells.
Yep.
People want love. But it's either people living vicariously through it or they're DMing me going, oh my God, I'm not alone. And that's so much of content. Like this is why my post blew up yesterday of me crying to the camera, not purposefully, but just like catching it on purpose. Like I'm about to cry and we're just going to download this right now. Why so many people resonated is because they were like, you're leading by example. Like you're quitting something publicly instead of going, I'm going to hide this. I'm going to pretend like everything's shiny. We're showing the mess. So 20 date guy, I reached out to him again, even though I'm the one who broke up with him. I reached out to him twice and I tell people about that. And sometimes I'm like, girl, just don't tell them. And then I'm like, I got to tell them. And people always DM me and they're like, it's so relatable. And I love watching to see how you're leading yourself through this.
I have to say, like, I think I DM'd you this at one point. I'm happily married for almost 15 years, totally not in that chapter at all. And part of it is like, I love it for living vicariously, but also I think the key part, and this I think is really one of the biggest like benefits of really showing up as your authentic self. Like it's relatable, even if you're not going through that thing, because we're all human. And so like you talking about how you're working through these relationship issues and like the dating and all that, I'm like, oh, I can relate to some parts of that. And I love how you're thinking about this. And so I can take some lessons and apply it to like my situation, which is totally different. Right. So I think that if you don't open yourself up to that, you never give your people the opportunity to relate to you and to really say like, I get what you're going through and I see that you get what I'm going through. And there's this like mirroring effect that is really, really powerful. I think one other piece of it that's super important is like, we often think as business owners, like we need to just be posting about our businesses constantly. But like, I don't know, it's boring. Like, it's like, that's not what people want to see, right? People want to see the real person behind the business. And so I think having a way to share beyond just the business is really, really important. And I think it also keeps us grounded because it can be really easy as entrepreneurs to get consumed by our own businesses. So like making sure that we are also people and continuing to like have lives outside of our businesses is really, really important.
Yes, you hit on it. It's the humanness of it. We're not scrolling Instagram to be following a brand. And if brands get followers and interaction, freaking good for them because they're doing it right. But it's, you're not following Nike or like, I'm looking around like Pure Vitamins. Who cares? If we have a character or a human story or, the founder, that's what's real. Like how they built it is real and what they went through is real. And I have this program called Human, which will not go away. And one of the things is like, I heard Jenna Kutcher say this 2017, maybe 2018. Like if you're following a wedding photographer and all she posts is wedding photos and you're in the market for a wedding photographer, amazing. Maybe you hire her. But as soon as you're not going to follow that person anymore because all she talks about is wedding photos. If she's talking about her process, her dog, how she accidentally formatted her SD card after like the biggest wedding she's ever shot and like the panic of that. If she's talking about her travels, how she got into this, her pricing, whatever, you're going to be invested in her as a human. So as soon as you're out of the market for a wedding photographer, you will still follow her. And now she's top of mind anytime a friend needs a wedding photographer. And that's why I really will stand like 2 feet on it all day long. Building a human brand is the most sustainable thing you can do because we pivot. And if you niche down and just talk about this one thing that you do and only your offers and only your expertise and your 3 tips to da da da, and you decide to pivot, you just lost your entire audience and you're starting over.
Yeah, I think that's so, so well said. So, one question that I have, and the answer for you might be no, there's nothing that kind of falls into this category, but I think that sometimes there's a tension. This relates to what we talked about with like the oversharing, but there are some things that we want to keep private and don't necessarily want
Sure.
to share publicly. And like, how do you kind of draw the line between like showing up honestly and like keeping something sacred and personal and private?
That's a big point, and I'm glad you brought it up because, for example, I've seen a lot of people try to like copy my close friend strategy. It's not authentic to them. Back to authenticity. It's like, yeah, that's a good example. If you are already sharing your dating tea, like I give podcasts to my freaking friends. Like we're the voice note generation. I'm doing this already.
Yep.
And actually, believe it or not, they're getting more detail than I'm giving on Instagram. And I'm doing this already. So it's like, again, that little test of like, if you're sending it to a friend, maybe try it on Instagram. And sure, copy me and see if it works, but people can smell it. They can sense it if it feels forced. So figure out what's authentic to you. And it doesn't have to be even personal, like back to close friends for a second. I have a client who is working on doing UGC content. And she doesn't really want to post publicly about it because she's trying to pitch the brands, but she's kind of posting the bloopers and like the weird stuff and like the problematic contracts and all of that on close friends. And it's like, ooh, we get like the behind the scenes of that. So it definitely doesn't have to be dating and it doesn't even have to be personal life. It can just be something behind like a little, it's not a paywall, but like we get the secret VIP.
Right. It's the stuff that you wouldn't feel comfortable sharing publicly or that you don't necessarily want to like show up in your feed, but
Yeah.
it's authentic. It's something you're going through.
Totally. To be clear, I have like 500 people on my close friends list. If I meet you and talk to you at all and I trust you, I'm just adding you. So like if someone follows me and I'm like, yo, how did we meet? How'd you find me? And they're like, oh my gosh, Rachel introduced us. And I'm like, sick. I'm going to just add you to my close friends. I'm not even asking. So just know that's part of the strategy too. So it's not like 30 people. It's like probably my warmest leads, actually, like the people I'm actually having conversations with. As far as sharing too much, you get to decide what your boundaries are. Like I know a lot of people who don't want to share their kids. I know a lot of people who use close friends to share their kids, which is a beautiful thing. They don't need to. Please, God, don't have 2 Instagram accounts. No judgment if anyone does, if you do. But like no one wants to manage that. Like I'm sorry. And it is a little confusing. You look someone up and you're like, which account even,
This is like an ongoing thing where I'm like, do I shut down one of the accounts? I don't know. Because I do post things on that other account that like are not at all aligned with my brand in that way. So it's a constant internal argument.
I'm so passionate about the 2 account thing. In my opinion, long story short, is maybe that personal stuff should actually be on your brand one. Because it's like, it's you. Your buckets are your personal story, right? Your offers and 3 other things that kind of go with your brand. Maybe it's like for you, kind of the lifestyle and where you live and what you do and these things. Maybe it's being like kind of audacious, like these audacious stories and the bold things, whatever. But a lot of times when people are like, I want to keep it separate, I'm like, why? Because the people watching one want all of it. They don't want just your brand. It doesn't matter if it's freaking on brand. Dating is not on brand for me.
Right.
But it's like, but people are here for it. And why would I post it to a totally separate audience when my possible clients are literally watching my stuff because of the dating? And then I'm going, hi, Camp Clarity is enrolling also. Just so you know, here's a little ad, So that's my spicy opinion on that.
I am going to think on that. I'm gonna think on that. I have to.
Totally.
I think there's a little bit of a like emotional connection to that account because it's my personal account has existed for so
Totally.
long. So
Yeah.
like, there's an emotional connection there. I have to work through that. But but what you're saying
Yeah.
totally makes sense.
And again, it's like it's a personal choice and you get to decide what you're sharing, what you're not. If you don't want to share anything about your personal life, you can still make it personal. You can still have
Totally.
opinions about things. You can still like have spicy takes. You can still show your work day and like where you're grabbing a matcha and if you're coffee shop camping and like the amount of people I have connected with because I tagged a restaurant and the restaurant like reposted my story and then they saw it and came and followed me, or a
Right.
yoga studio or any of that. Seriously, so many people. So it's like the biggest mistake I think we could make if we're building a personal brand is being like, well, that's too personal. No one needs to
Mm-hmm.
know where I'm eating out for dinner. No, it's strategy. Like
Yeah.
it's strategy. And then people are like, oh my God, I love her. I love going out to eat at those type of places. I connect with her. I love astrology or I love whatever.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. What's something that you used to post? Like, what types of things did you used to post that you wouldn't now? When you kind of look back, we all have the like Facebook memories that we see like our 2010 selves. And I'm like, oh, why did I ever post that?
Totally. Totally. It's even like kind of like diary entries, like rereading your diary and you're just like, oh, girl, no, like what? But you shouldn't burn it. You'll always appreciate it when you're 90.
Yes.
I don't think there's anything that well, for a minute, I was trying to, I think we were all figuring it out when Reels just came out. There's still amazing talking videos where one person's one character and one person's the other. Those were not authentic to me. I'm not a good actress.
Right.
I'm good at just like spilling my guts. And
Mm-hmm.
so those type of reels, where we're pointing to stuff, that kind of shit, I think we're all like, ooh, like I think that was the time. And it's kind of like Y2K fashion. It's like that's not it anymore, even though it's kind of coming back. And no judgment to that. Like some people do it really well. Some people go over the top with it and it's hilarious. But for me, I'm not on TikTok really ever at all. And I had maybe like 3 to 4 posts living on there that were those type of things from like 2021. I got so icked out by them and I recently just deleted them all. I was like, these don't get to live here.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if you find me on TikTok and that's all I have, no. Nope. So that
Mm-hmm.
would be one that I'm just like, yeah, no more of that for me. I'm not going to chase the trends unless they feel really good.
Yeah.
Even the trending songs, it's like, do something that you love. Go to your Spotify and see your most liked songs recently and put something on there. Like
Mm-hmm.
the trending audio is not going to be the thing that
Yep.
blows you up. I'm sorry, it's not.
Yep. Totally. Totally. What's one piece of advice that you would give to your 2020 self when you started the coaching side of things?
Oh my gosh. I almost want to flip it on its head and go like my 2020-year-old self would give me advice now
Mm.
and just
Oh.
be like, girl, like just play, like see what you can do. Stop attaching because you build this business and the more you build it, it's kind of like this glass castle vibe. It's just a trap. It becomes this big monster that you feel
Mm-hmm.
like you have to upkeep. And, even Camp Clarity, it's like, but I ran it for 5 years, but I just redid the branding and I love it. And you put all this invested time, energy, and money into something and you get too attached to it. You get golden handcuffed, basically. And my 2020 self, who was 30 at the time, would just say, like, slow down, see what comes, freaking sit down and meditate. That's the first year I ever started meditating because we had time.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, God bless the pandemic in so many ways. And just play. And that's where I'm at right now is like, allow yourself to have that blank page. Let's just see. And it could be anything, like just dream a little.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's a great place to stop. Where can people find you? What would you like to share with people?
Yeah. Diana Davis Creative on Instagram. Come actually say hi. Like I'm such a human on there. I love my DMs. I love talking to people. So many people are like, but I don't know, like you do that, but like, I don't know if I can do that. Again, like I have clients who aren't on Instagram at all. They fill out their programs and their stuff by getting on calls with people and networking their asses off. Like, that's cool too. You don't have to be me. But I'm a Gemini. I love to chat. I love friends. I love community. And I'm truly here to connect. So come connect with me there, and I'll ask to be on the close friends. I'll put you on there.
It's worth being on the close friends list.
And then it's recess for creatives, and anyone is welcome to join. It's a quarterly membership, and the whole vibe is we just have our nose in the math book so much as creative entrepreneurs, and we need to play. And so it's a space to just be with people. We always say it's like a slumber party where you can wear your retainer. We're here to just be, and it's a beautiful, just an exhale. So anyone is welcome to that. It's a great group.
Awesome. Thank you so, so much, Diana. This was such a pleasure.
Same. Thanks for having me.
All right. That was such an incredible conversation with Diana Davis. I've admired her ability to truly embody authenticity in such a real way, right? Like really authentic, not the fake authentic that we tend to hear about. I've admired her ability to do that for a long time. So it was really just my honor to have her on the show today and have her share her perspective with you. I got some good takeaways myself. Definitely got me thinking about shutting down my personal account, just going all in on Honeybee Bold and making that my hybrid personal business account. But I got to give that some more thought. But really just such a great conversation. And I hope that you got some really good nuggets from it. And especially if you have not tried the close friend strategy, try it. Just give it a try. And remember that if you're feeling really scared about sharing yourself online, it's all temporary. Yes, anything you post online exists forever in some capacity, but in the real sense of people actually seeing it and remembering it and having it come up in their feeds, that's only going to last for a day, maybe two. If, you're lucky, it'll last for a little bit longer, but for the most part, the algorithm likes to keep fresh content coming. So if you post something and you're not proud of it, it's not going to last in people's feeds for very long. So that should remove the pressure of showing up and sharing yourself. And I hope that you got so much out of this conversation. Be sure to follow Diana and check out her programs, and I'll see you next week. All right, beautiful human. That's a wrap on this episode of Bold Women in Business. This episode was brought to you by my company, Honeybee Bold, with music by Shmukulele. But before you go, don't forget to take the Content Marketing Power Type quiz at honeybeebold.com/quiz, because when your content fits your power type, showing up gets way easier and your marketing actually starts working for you. Until next time, stay bold, stay kind, and keep doing it your way.